you ready to kickstart your week with some dirt slinging and tire slaying action motorsports radio that packs the biggest guests?
Hi, Ken Block here.
Hey, my name's Jolene Van Butte.
What's up, Brian Deegan here.
Vaughn Ginn Jr. here.
They've been thrown into one show that has broken down the barriers of what a motorsports radio show should be. This is the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR, with support from General Tire, KMC Wheels, DirtFish, Gibson Exhaust, and MTX Audio, with your host, who also happens to spend his weekends flying 800 horsepower trucks through the dirt, Jim Beaver.
When was the last time you saw an off-road or rally driver begging to get behind the wheel of a NASCAR Indy car? Yep, not happening, but you sure see these pavement racers begging to drive our cars.
And his partner in crime every week, a self-proclaimed Canadian moto chick who was jumping triples and taking podiums before most guys even learned to ride, Amy Hood.
No one knows how to say my last name. Like, is it really that hard? Amy Hood, like I'm from the hood. Don't get it twisted.
Sit back, strap in, and be prepared to join us as we take you through a motorsports ride like no other. Here is the man who carries a steering wheel in one hand and a mic in the other, Jim Beaver.
Good morning. Welcome to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Jim Beaver joined here on the line by my good friend Amy Hood. How's everything going up there in Canada, Amy?
Hey guys, it's going pretty darn awesome. It's been a wild week, and even going to be a wilder weekend because I have my first motocross race.
Nice. Looking forward to chatting about that. But we got a lot to talk about today on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. First off, we got Mitchell DeJong. Later on in hour number one, GRC Lights champion, GRC supercar driver now. He's a Red Bull helmeted athlete. He's going to be on the line. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then we've got Alex Stryer. He is sales and marketing director for Team Lucas. But more importantly, Mr. Alex Stryer wrote the book on motorsports sponsorship. Seriously, twice. Explanation and motorsports marketing and sponsorships. He's written 2 books on the subject. He's going to be on the line. We're going to pick his brain, find out how to get some money in an industry that's pretty tough to find it nowadays. So going to be a lot of fun talking with him. We got Joe Duncan. We've got some IndyCar, some pro motocross from Glen Helen to talk about. Baja 500 coming up. Man, it's going to be a slam-packed show. Lots of fun. So stay tuned here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR.
Hey, I'm RJ Anderson, factory Polaris driver, and I drive Polaris because it's the most capable, race-ready off-road vehicle on the market.
When R.J. Anderson wanted to set a world record for the longest UTV jump in history, not once but twice, what company did he trust? Polaris and their championship-winning RZR XP1000. RJ is a UTV champion behind the wheel of Polaris vehicles, and he exclusively trusts the Polaris RZRs to bring him race wins and championships against some of the toughest off-road racers in the world. The same Polaris RZRs RJ has won championships in, set world records in, and conquered the Wall of Death in XP1K2 are available to you at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of world record holder R.J. Anderson and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris RZR vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. A 268-horsepower, turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305-horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. It's not a sibling rivalry. It's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
As certain as the sun rises and sets around the world, OTSFF Group is dedicated to providing flexible, comprehensive, and reliable transportation solutions. Air transportation, ocean freight, ground transportation, or a combination of services. We offer innovative and custom-built packages specifically designed to meet your transportation needs. OTSFF Group has been keeping shipments moving globally for nearly 2 decades. OTSFF Group, flexible logistics services designed for you. More information at OTSFF.com. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? DirtFish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at DirtFish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount. Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Jim Beaver, Amy Hood here, and I have some big news. Actually, a lot of big news, but first off, today is the day. Star Car, I guess our third video. First one was kind of a teaser. The second one, both have done over 100,000 views. But we've got the third video, the one from the UTV World Championship that had Jolene Van Butte and I. We had Alyssa Ronick with ESPN. She joined us in the car. And also had Sean Oshner with Dirt Sports Magazine and the Enthusiast Network. He took a ride for a couple hours, but that video is dropping today. Easiest way to go is to head over to my Facebook page and give it a watch, and please give it a share. I don't know. We've had 100,000 views on the first two, Hood. I'm going for 150,000 on this one, and it's the best one so far. I don't know. You think I can do it? You think I can pull it off?
Oh, absolutely. Just get sharing and liking, tagging people, and you've got this. Yeah,
I'm shooting for 150K, so hopefully we can get. I think it drops at 1:30 Pacific time today, so that would be 3:30 Winnipeg time, Hood. So you need to go and check it out.
Okay, I will for sure.
All right, I'll be texting you. Hey, Hood, check this out as soon as it drops. So anyway, Star Car video dropping today. Please go check it out. Watch, like, share. Tell everybody about it. If you hate it, don't say a word, but still share it. If you love it, share it twice or 3 times. So I don't know, log into your wife's account or your girlfriend's account. Share it from that one too. So just help me get the word out on this thing. But you
got it.
Yeah. Other big news. I just realized this last week, and I'm like, man, we got to do something special. So Amy and I, we're gonna have to brainstorm this deal out. But episode number 300 of the Down and Dirty Radio Show happens July 25th. Now, I've got some big ideas for this. I mean, 300 episodes. I never would have thought I'd get to 3 episodes, so 300 is kind of mind-blowing to me. And I know I will have to look, but you've at least been on air for half of those. I mean, maybe 2/3. I don't know. We got to do some research, but you got to be getting close to like episode 200 that you've done with me, I think.
Yeah, well, we need to have like a little celebration for mine as well. Like, it's been a while. It's kind of crazy to think.
Yeah, I'll have to do some research, but I know overall episode number 300 drops July 25th. And we got some special stuff planned, some really special guests, some out-of-the-box stuff that we've never done before. We may go a little longer than normal. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe a 3-hour show. I don't know. I've got a lot of ideas, but Amy and I, both on air and off air, we got to brainstorm this one out. But episode 300, July 25th, just mark it on your calendar because I can promise you this thing's going to be massive. So, so mark that one on your calendars, guys. And if you have any ideas, tweet us at JimBeaver15, at AmyHood71. Let us know what your ideas for episode number 300, who you would like to hear on air. Just give us some ideas, man. And, if you got any ideas for the future.
Yeah, I like when we get fan feedback about that stuff.
Yeah, we haven't done like a Q&A in a while either. I need to go and pull questions. Maybe we'll do something like that next week. It's been a while since you and I have took fan questions, but I'm sure I got a bunch of them in the inbox. I just need to go through and filter them out. But and our good friends at Subaru, Launch Control, that drops tomorrow, Wednesday. If you're tuning in on Wednesday in national syndication, that's today. But newest episode for this season, I guess the new season of Subaru Launch Control drops. So make sure and go and check that out. And other than that, this weekend, I know we got some moto to talk about and some other stuff, Hood, but did you by any chance watch any of the Indy 500? I know your boy Connor Daly was racing.
Oh, we did, and it was. I mean, I remember the first time looking up at the screen, I was seeing highlights of one car on top of the other.
Yeah.
But keeping post obviously with our buddy Connor Daly, but and the Andretti's, and it was just wild. And I believe there was NASCAR going on at the same time, and so we were watching like two screens back and forth, and it was just a wild weekend for four wheels.
Yeah.
I mean, and also two wheels. We'll talk about moto after, because I think this weekend in motocross was one of the most interesting outdoor races I've ever watched.
Yeah, and we'll talk about moto in the next segment, because we're going to take a while on that one, but it was definitely an interesting weekend in pro moto. That's for sure. But yeah, the Indy 500. I wanted to ask you. So you were watching that. You saw the flip. You saw Helio going underneath Scott Dixon. That was a wild. And I've seen a lot of crashes, and I don't share crashes on my social media at all. Like, I'm just totally against it. But Helio, who was one of the guys that was in it, actually shared the crash, and I'm like, all right, so if one of the guys in it sharing the crash, it's okay for me to share it. But, like, to me, it looked like something out of an action movie. Like, it was like, this is not real. This is so not real.
Who needs stunt drivers anymore? I think racing is getting to the point where it's so gnarly, we're our own stunt drivers. Yeah,
like, I mean, it was full-blown. Look like, they're doing stuff in Indy cars that, looks like something you guys would be doing in Monster Jam or something. Holy crap.
Everybody walked away fine and safe, right?
Yeah, that was what was mind-blowing to me. I'm watching this, and I'm going, this is bad. And, and I don't know Scott Dixon, but I've met Scott Dixon a few times, and that's what – like, it's tough for me in motorsports now that I know all these people personally to watch a crash, because I'm emotionally attached. And, I'm sure you're the same way. Even like moto, you see Ken Roxon go down earlier this year, and I'm like, crap, like, I've interviewed Ken. I mean, I know him to an extent, and it's like, it makes it tough. But this one, I was just there. I saw Scott Dixon. We shook hands, and I'm like, holy crap, we could be losing Scott. And then all of a sudden, literally, it's done. And he unstraps and jumps out of the car. And I'm like, how did that happen? Like, what planet does, holy crap, But, yeah, it was gnarly. It's one of the craziest crashes I think I've ever seen before.
Oh, yeah, that was wild. Like, again, it just kind of shows us the evolution of technology nowadays and how well-constructed these vehicles are, because, years ago that might not have been the same case, having the driver jump out with ease like that. So it just it goes to show that they're making the right steps in manufacturing to building safer machines and equipment.
Yeah, well, and I know, like me, I started thinking back in the last 2 years. I've had 4 bad rollovers in a race car, once in my trophy truck, and then once in the Desert Razor, and then twice in my Terracross Razor, and bad crashes, all 4 of them. And I've been lucky enough that I've walked away. Literally, I think one of the crashes, I had a bruise on my elbow, and another one, my knee kind of swelled up because it banged on the roll cage. But, like, I never went to the hospital. I was totally fine. And, and I'm looking back, like, I see the videos, I'm like, man, those were gnarly crashes. And, and like you said, safety equipment and the way vehicles are constructed now and things like that, it's just, we're really fortunate. I mean, what you guys do in Monster Jam on a daily basis, I mean, that stuff is brutal on the body, but your safety equipment is so good that you guys are, you're sore afterwards, but, you're able to go to the next show and do it all over again.
Yeah, you're not even really that sore. Like, it's crazy when, you have custom fitted seats and a 5-point harness and a roll cage, and, how much your body can withstand, opposed to motocross, where you can fall over in a corner and break your wrist. There's a lot of injuries here on the weekend in Manitoba motocross, and our Canadian Nationals are starting, and 2 of our top Manitoba riders are out, and they're racing on a sand track that's like beach sand. So, you fall, you're landing on pillows. But we got no roll cage on a dirt bike, and your body is what takes the impact. And then you just got to pray that the bike doesn't come and kick you and sneak up and bite you in the butt.
Yeah, here's a question, because you're in the gym all the time. What have you learned from racing on 4 wheels these past 6 months as far as the body? Do you train differently? Like, are there certain muscles and stuff like that you've got to work out to be in the car rather than what you did on the motorcycle?
No, because, motocross is a lot of endurance, a lot of, upper body to be able to, like, woman handle that dirt bike and throw it around. I just think it's just staying all in general, like it's just staying fit. And I'm more focused on my diet and eating better and being able to deal with, the long days and long nights and being able to bounce back the next day and having, 4 to 6 shows in a weekend, just being on my top physical game rather than just a slaying athlete that's like going at 1,000,000 miles an hour and being able to bench press X amount of weights. Like, motocross is just such a different form of training. Like, it's full muscle endurance and pushing yourself to a limit to be able to handle those motos. But it's been great. It's been nice being able to kind of switch gears and not train so hard, and my body's able to recover so much better now. And, my back isn't hurting, and I like the transition, let's say that. But I'm excited to race again this weekend. It's nice to kind of get back in the swing of things. So, and, I like training hard. I like pushing myself and pushing my limits. Like, it's, for some weird reason, I like to see how far my body can go.
Yeah. All right, we got to take a short break here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. When we come back, we're talking some Baja 500, big news coming out of that, and pro motocross, all that and more still to come. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty Radio Show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of Razor vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a Razor 170 like me, take the entire family out in a Razor XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new Razor XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full Polaris Razor lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? DirtFish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, DirtFish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZs, DirtFish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, DirtFish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit DirtFish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from DirtFish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at DirtFish Rally. Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Jim Beaver, Amy Hood here, and wanted to talk a little bit about some off-road news, but before we get to that, want to mention Project Action, my podcast over on Podcast One, drops every Thursday. Last week we had a special Indy 500 edition with a bunch of driver interviews. We had Connor Daly, Alexander Rossi. We had actually John Andretti, one of the legends So it was a great podcast. Check it out. It's over there on Podcast One, and still some good interviews, even though Indy is over. But make sure and check it out, and go on iTunes, rate, review, subscribe. And when you leave that review, leave your Twitter, Instagram @username in the body of the review on iTunes. And when I see it, I will follow you back. So my promise to you guys. But some off-road news. I was going to talk some Baja 500 today. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and obviously some pro moto in this segment coming up here in a little bit. We got Mitchell DeJong on the line, but breaking news this morning, my buddy Andy McMillan, he's won just about every off-road race there is in Trophy Truck. He just made an Instagram post that Mr. Andy McMillan is the newest Red Bull helmeted driver. So congrats goes out to Andy McMillan. He and I actually texted before the show. That happened like 10 minutes before we went on air. I texted him, and I'll actually read the exact text that I sent Andy McMillan because this is something special. And for those of you that don't know, when Andy was like 18 or 19, he was a Red Bull helmeted driver. He drove with Robbie Gordon in Trophy Truck, and he was like the young gun. He got signed to a Red Bull helmet deal. And then he stepped away to go to college and do some other stuff. He stepped away from off-road for a few years, and he lost his Red Bull helmet deal. It wasn't because it was a lack of results. It was literally that he just wasn't racing anymore. And then he got married and stuff like that. Well, he went back to racing full-time like 2 or 3 years ago, and he's been killing it. And so Red Bull re-signed him to a deal. And I don't know if that's happened before because normally you lose your Red Bull deal, and it's kind of done for life. But he's been killing it that much that they brought him back under. And it wasn't like he left on bad terms. It was just, he had other stuff going on, which rightfully so. But I sent him a text. I said, congrats on the Red Bull helmet. That's huge, my friend. I don't think people actually realize what it means and how big of an honor it is to get helmeted by Red Bull. And I truly mean that. You read on Red Bull, and there's Rockstar and there's Monster, and I've got friends that are helmeted by all these brands, but there's Red Bull. And anybody, aside from maybe Ken Block that got offered a Red Bull deal, I'm telling you right now, they're dropping their energy drink sponsorship and they're going to Red Bull. There's Red Bull, and then there's everybody else. And it's just always been that way. And it's an elite thing. Red Bull doesn't sell their hats. You can't buy one in a store. It's something special. And you see somebody with a Red Bull hat or a Red Bull shirt, and they're an athlete because it's just a small elite group. And I don't know, it's just a big deal for Andy. It's a really big deal. And congrats goes out to Andy McMillan on that deal. I don't know. I mean, you can attest that. I mean, it's just it's an elite status, Amy. I mean, you've got friends that are Red Bull guys. I mean, Renner, he's one. And when LaValle, and when you sign a Red Bull deal, it's for life. It generally isn't like, oh, it's 2 years and goes away. I mean, when you're a Red Bull person, you're Red Bull for life.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, it is like kind of this elite, club of, pardon my French, but bad butts.
Yeah.
I know I have to watch what I say on this show, but I mean, it's just an elite level status, and usually they sign the best of the best athletes, and that's kind of the ultimate goal is, to always be with the best brand. But I do have to say that Monster Energy is slowly kind of sneaking in there as well with, the new NASCAR program and all of their, big celebrity named athletes. That's, like Machine Gun Kelly reps for Monster Energy and, all these big musicians and rappers and whatnot, and Twitch and all them. And so,
Valentino Rossi, Louis Hamilton, Valentino Rossi, Ken Block. I mean, you got, Kyle and Kurt Busch. You got the Force girls, Brittany Force, Courtney Force. I mean, like you said, I didn't mean that as a knock on Red Bull because Monster's got their elite
but
stuff.
It never used to be that way.
Yeah.
It never used to be that way. But but Monster Energy is like, okay, we can compete now too. And with their new NASCAR program and, how they're branding it and how they're marketing it and, like, what they're doing on social media, even with all these athletes like Twitch and Machine Gun Kelly, like, it's getting big. Everyone wants to be part of and the Doonies and, everyone wants to be part of the Monster crew now because it's kind of like the fun ones.
Yeah.
Still, Red Bull is the elite level athletes. That is, that's like the Olympics.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's an interesting dynamic, and just to get helmeted by anybody, even, we haven't talked about Rockstar, but, I mean, just to get helmeted by any of the three major energy drink brands, I mean, it's a big, big deal. So, but, sure. Yeah, props to Andy McMillan wearing the Red Bull helmet. His is pretty cool because actually Red Bull always does something special that kind of talks, that's kind of special to that driver in the back of his helmet. Actually has his wife and his kid airbrushed in there, so it was kind of cool. So that's happening. Baja 500 this weekend, happening down there in Ensenada. I know they'll be doing some kind of live stream for you Baja fans, so make sure and check it out. I don't know where the live stream will be. Probably score-international.com is my guess. I know the Race Desert Forums, they've got a bunch of coverage of Baja already kind of happening. Brutal track this year. Running down to San Felipe last year, we had people getting heat exhaustion and heat stroke. It was so hot, 120 plus out on that dry lake bed around San Felipe. If you're heading down there, make sure and drink lots of water, be hydrated. Seriously, you should have started hydrating last week. But no better time to start than now if you're heading down there. Please do it. Be safe. But Baja happening this weekend. Last weekend, though, Pro Moto, Glen Helen. Glen Helen, one of the iconic tracks for pro motocross, and man, this one didn't disappoint, Amy.
No, not at all. Like it was wild, and it made for a really interesting start of the season. I mean, we had 8 motos and 6 different moto winners. Like that's kind of unheard. It was really, really weird with the point system trying to figure out who was kind of the, who the leader of the pack is, because it was so spread out. Someone got a 4th and then a 2nd, or an 8th and a 1st, and it was just kind of all over everywhere. Like there's lots of mechanical issues and crashes, and it was really, really wild. Did you get a chance to watch at all?
I watched a bit of it. I watched a bit of it live on MAV TV. Pro Moto is tough to watch compared to Supercross. It's very long and time consuming. Like being there is great, but on TV, it's tough. I'm just going to say it. It's tough. When you're there, it's awesome, because you're there. There's awesome atmosphere and everything else. But watching on TV, it's a long, might as well just book out your entire day to watch Pro Moto, But I did watch parts of it.
They have a horrible TV package.
Yeah. So, but no, Marvin, listen, we got to talk about that. This is a big deal. First 450, I believe, outdoor win. But he went 1-3. I mean, that's a pretty big statement. I mean, Tomac, dominated the first round, but Marvin, he's came out swinging.
Yeah, but the poor Cowie guy has had huge mechanical issues all weekend and just kind of trouble all around. And Tomac finished 9th, and I just think, now that Dungey's out, Ken Roxon's out, those are the 2 most dominant riders that we kind of have a target on their back for 450 outdoors. And with them gone, I mean, the field is huge. We have Jason Anderson with a win, Marvin Muscan, not to mention Tomac, even though he's obviously always up and down. But then we got, people like Blake Baggett and Dean Wilson. He finished 4th. I mean, we got all these people who are actually championship contenders now, and it's not just one guy or 2 guys. It's a handful. It's 5 or 6 guys this year, and I love that. That's something we don't really see nowadays. There's always this one dominant person that is gone from the rest of the pack, and that's kind of what's shaking up to be in 250s. Martin winning 2 outdoor titles. I thought he was going to move up to 450 this year. I'm a little surprised that
me too.
With 250. Yeah, but I mean, the first moto he just walked away from everybody, and that kind of set the tone for how it's going to be. If Jeremy doesn't have an issue, and he'll take this championship with ease, but he had a little bit of inconsistency. We saw him having some inconsistency issues earlier in Supercross before he got hurt. But he made his bed and kind of lied in it. That second moto, making a mistake, and it cost him that win by 1 point over Zach Osborne. But I think that win, that championship in Supercross gave Zach this extra confidence for outdoors. So hopefully we'll see a battle between Marvin and Zach this year. But I do think that Martin might kind of walk away. He is the king of outdoors. He grew up with Millville in the back of his backyard. So I mean, if you can't. Not many people get that opportunity, so he is a pretty incredible outdoor rider, and I don't know. I don't think he's going to have much pressure from anybody else. Maybe Zach, but I don't think Zach as established. Jeremy knows what it takes to win an outdoor championship. He's done it twice. I think he's going to be able to do it a 3rd time, and then he better move to 450s already.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought this was a year, and I don't know, maybe this is his final swan song in 250s, and comes Supercross, and 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 outdoors next year.
He's riding for a new team, so maybe he wants to win a outdoor championship on Geico 250 and then go and win it on a 450. You never really know moving to a new team what they had in store. But I do think because the 250s do East and West Coast outdoors, am I right? Or
no, I think it's all just one. I think it's all just one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's been a while since I've kind of focused. I was going to say, even if he clenches that title early in the game, maybe we'll see him do an outdoor race in 450s. I don't know. I'm just a little surprised he didn't do 450s, but especially with Dungey and Roxon out, I think he could have had some serious potential. But Adamson Sproul finishing 4th place. He's right in there as well. I think it's going to be a really aggressive, dramatic, outdoor season for 2017. It's going to be really interesting, just like Supercross. I think we're going to kind of come down to the wire in the 450s, in those last couple of races of the year, and it's going to be a lot of heated battles. Hopefully everybody can just stay safe and injury-free.
Yeah, I agree, and we got to take a short break. We come back, we got an interview with Mitchell DeJong here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR.
Hey, I'm RJ Anderson, factory Polaris driver, and I drive Polaris because it's the most capable, race-ready off-road vehicle on the market.
When R.J. Anderson wanted to set a world record for the longest UTV jump in history, not once but twice, what company did he trust? Polaris and their championship-winning RZR XP1000. R.J. is a UTV champion behind the wheel of Polaris vehicles, and he exclusively trusts the Polaris RZRs to bring him race wins and championships against some of the toughest off-road racers in the world. The same Polaris RZRs RJ has won championships in, set world records in, and conquered the Wall of Death in XP1K2 are available to you at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of world record holder RJ Anderson and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris RZR vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. Since 1970, KC Highlights has been designing and manufacturing performance lighting for off-road and motorsports, beginning with the legendary Daylighter up until today's revolutionary Flex, Pod, and Pro 6 lighting systems. KC Highlights offers a full line of halogen, HID, and LED lighting solutions for your off-road vehicle. Looking for the best quality lighting? Looking for the brand champions choose? You're looking for KC Highlights. Find out more information at kchighlights.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KC Highlights.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'd like to welcome my next guest to the line, my good friend Mitchell DeJong. How's everything going, Mitchell?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's nice. I'm right at home now before we head out for the next USC race.
Yeah, well, it's good to have you. I know we caught up last year right after you'd kind of dropped in on a supercar ride, but take us through this year. A couple of rounds down, man. You're here full time. It's gotta feel pretty darn good for you to finally be here, be in the seat, know you've got a home for the season. You know, you're racing supercars. You can kind of, you know, let everything sink in and get up to speed. I mean, how's everything feeling for you?
Yeah, it's been great. It's awesome to have a full-time ride, and to be in a supercar is just such an amazing feeling. Yeah, it's great. We're 2 rounds down now, and we still have a long season to go. But every race we learn a lot, and there's really a lot to take in with these cars. There's so many new systems involved and things like that. So it's just an experience that's every time we get in it.
Yeah, I've driven lights cars before. But how big of a transition was it for you? Because, I mean, you were literally one of the most dominating drivers in Lights Series history. I mean, you know, the step to supercars, how big is it? Because I know, you know, the gearbox is similar. It's all-wheel drive. I mean, obviously it's less horsepower. But, I mean, you as a driver, I mean, how big of a step was that for you to take?
Yeah, you know, it was certainly a step for sure. You know, we after, you know, the lights, we had to take a break. So, you know, getting back into the field of racing and then also making the jump up to supercar was quite crazy. But, you know, the cars are just like the lights, but on steroids. So, you know, the shifting is roughly the same, but there's a lot more involved, a lot easier to break the gearbox or things like that. The cars are so fast, so it's so easy to overdrive them and actually go slow like that. But also there's different driving techniques and stuff because you have so much more power that, you know, you kind of do different things on the corners now to take advantage of that. Where the lights, you're always focused on carrying momentum and things like that. So, you know, you have to almost kind of break some habits and, you know, just adapt to the supercar. It's always tough racing with it because, you know, you have the anti-lag and, you know, the turbo lag and the boost and stuff you have to worry about as well. So it's a lot of little things that make a really big difference on the track. So, you know, it's certainly a lot to learn, but no, it's been great and it's so much fun.
Yeah, well, and you know, and I know you too. The transition to supercar now. I mean, the Honda platform. I mean, it's a new platform for GRC. You know, and so you know, there's been some growth with that. We'll talk about the first win here in a second for Honda, but it's also a bigger car than you're used to, right? So I mean, there had to have been a transition. I mean, it's a new car. It's still developing. It's a bigger car. So I mean, there's that transition to that as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the car's a little bit longer and a little bit wider, so it's always tough to, you know, get a feel for the corners of the car and things like that. You know, every little couple inches on the track, getting closer to a tire barrier helps. So, you know, you always have to, you know, take a little bit of time to get used to all that. But yeah, it's certainly a different dynamic with, you know, how you get through corners and things like that. You know, it's definitely a bit tricky. But you know, it's a different feel, but it's a good one.
Yeah. Well, in talking about that, obviously, you know, the development work, you know, that's gone into this new Honda platform. Honda had some podiums, but I mean, how was it for you guys as a team? I mean, to finally crack that, get that first that first victory under Honda's belt. Obviously, it was your teammate that got it, but it had to have been a special feeling, you know, back there in the paddock. And you were right there too. I think you finished in 4th, but you know, how was that for as a team? It's like, all right, now we have a car that we know is capable of taking a victory in GRC. We can compete, you know, with the Fords and with the Andretti Volkswagens, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, it was a huge morale boost for everyone, I would say. You know, it's since the beginning. I think they finished the car right before the first race and beginning of 2016. So, you know, with the proper testing in the off season this year, a lot of time to really fine tune everything and make the proper adjustments. And you know, this year it really paid off with the changes that were made. The car is a lot better this year, and you know, it was really good that we got some rain as well in this last race. You know, it was kind of a bit of an equalizer for, you know, certain things on the track and let you really just drive the car, you know, exactly the best you can, I would say. And, you know, my teammate Sebastian really maximized. He got an amazing start and was able to hold them off after that, all those crazy battles. But, you know, it would have been nice to be up there with them. We had some defroster issues halfway through the race, so I couldn't really see after that. But no, it was it's just amazing to see the progress of the car, and to be able to win already 2 races into the season is awesome.
Yeah, well, and it's gotta throw you guys a little bit of a curveball too, because I mean, in a lot of motorsport, I mean, and even like when you were doing off road with Torque and things like that, it's the same tracks year after year, and even in Europe, most of the RX tracks are the same track year after year. But here in the States, I mean, GRC, it's basically a new track every year. You know what I mean? The schedule kind of changes, and even if you're going to the same venue, they may tweak the track a little bit. So it's got to be pretty tough for you guys to go in. It's not like you can have setups, that you knew worked last year and things like that. It's like starting from scratch all over again every time you show up at a venue, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You can take little bits and pieces from tracks, what work. You can kind of get a good idea of the surface that you're on and things like that. But, it really teaches you in rallycross how to adapt really well. You have to effectively within, I would say 5 laps or so, be able to find all the optimal braking points and things like that and really nail a lap right away, because you want to, get comfortable as soon as possible so that the team can make the proper adjustments to actually see what changes are better or not. And also that's really tricky as well. Like, certain times you might get cut short of practice sessions, so you only have, 12 laps total on the track, and it's really tough for the team and for the drivers to adapt quickly and find the best setting. So, it's certainly one of the toughest parts of the weekend, I would say. Just getting it tuned in and adapt to the track as quick as possible. But
yeah, well, and how has it been for you? Because you're one of the few American drivers. I mean, there's a handful in the series. Obviously, we know Ken Block's over in Europe full time now. You've got Tanner, who's gone over there. But obviously, being tied in with Andreas and Olsberg MSC. I mean, they've got European base there. I mean, you've been able to go to Europe. I mean, how has it been for you as an American going over there? And what have you learned? Because I know most Americans they've heard of RX maybe, or World Rallycross, and maybe because Ken's raced over there, Tanner, they're loosely familiar, but I don't think they realize how big rallycross is over there. I mean, they see GRC and it's an amazing series here in the States, but they don't realize how massive rallycross is globally. I mean, how has it been for you, for an American, one, to go over to Europe, and two, I mean, what have you learned racing against those drivers? Because they're some of the best drivers in the world, that are racing, in Europe.
Yeah, absolutely. Racing over there, rallycross is like NASCAR out here. For them. But it's amazing. There's so many people that race in it, and, they're all so good. It's like we grew up racing like oval stuff or things like that, but they grew up racing rallycross. So, they're some of the best for sure. And, it's always such a competitive field. I got to do the ice racing stuff with the lights car this off season, and, it was a great learning experience. I didn't really get to drive in snow beforehand, but was able to have some really great battles with everyone, and it's crazy how competitive everyone is. It really helps you push yourself and take it to the next level, and it's great.
Yeah. Well, I know, looking at the season as a whole, I mean, you guys are sitting, you guys, I think, what are you guys, 4th, 5th, and 6th currently in the points championship? I mean, what's it going to take for you guys in Honda to bust through? I mean, you guys are right there. You took a victory. We're 2 rounds in. We got a huge chunk of the season left. What's it going to take for you guys, to put it together and push up to that number 1 spot?
Yeah, I think it's all, at this point, I would say it's all the little things that make a big difference. I think we still haven't really put together a perfect weekend yet. VW and those guys have done it a few times, and especially in the last year or so, and they just been able to nail everything. So I think we just have to really get everything right with from the beginning in practice, getting the car set up right from the beginning, and making sure our launches are good so we get out front, have a good position in all the heat races, build those points. And I think if we can just kind of nail those things properly. I think speed-wise we're quite close now, and anything can happen. So I think we just have to fix all the little things, and I think we can have some good results. So we'll see. For us, we're still constantly learning every race. Being that it's still very early on for me and one of my teammates, rallycross or supercar career. So there's always something to learn every race. So we just keep pushing on, and hopefully we can get it done soon.
Yeah, well, and one thing I've always liked about you is, you're at such a young age, but I know it's funny because we started following you with, I've known your dad for years. I think last time I raced in Baja, he was actually racing down there, and we were staying at the same hotel, but I think that was back in 2007 maybe. But, I followed you from the start with this radio show, and you were racing Torque and Buggy, and then, you went, and you've done lights, and, you're doing karting. I mean, you're doing stuff, online, with iRacing, and, you're doing ice racing, and obviously now supercars. I mean, how's it been for you to be able to, draw from all these different disciplines and things like you've done? I mean, you can draw from off-road, you can draw from the stuff you've done online. I mean, karting, I mean, you've got, you're young, but you've got a background with all these different, diverse disciplines. I mean, how's that been for you?
Yeah, it's amazing. I have to thank my parents first and foremost for giving me all these opportunities and directing me in the right path when I was too young to really know what exactly to do. It's great to be able to practice and drive in all these different disciplines. You can always learn something from every discipline. So I feel like, if you can take all the little things from each one, it's just experience, and you can group them all together. And that's the great thing about rallycross is that, it covers both types of racing, dirt and pavement. So, and I love both. So kind of combines the best, and it's awesome to be able to take a little bit from every little discipline and kind of put it together for this. So it's a great thing.
All right. So before we let you go, I know we got GRC New England coming up this weekend. I'm looking at the track. It's almost a mile long. It looks actually like a pretty awesome track. It's it's almost like 40% dirt or something like that. I mean, what's the predictions for this weekend up there in New England?
Yeah, I really like the track as well. I think it'll be interesting for sure. I think we're getting better every race. So, hopes are high. Hopefully we can, put together a good weekend. My goal is to fight for the podium. And we'll see how it goes. We'll have to see, how our pace looks after practice and things like that on this track. There's a lot of long corners, and, that will be interesting for sure. But we'll see. We'll see. Hopes are high.
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, Mitchell. Good luck this weekend. Hopefully we can catch up soon. I know I'm trying to get out to a GRC round at some point this year, but best of luck to you guys, and say hey to the family for me.
Perfect. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mitchell. All right, that was Mitchell DeJong, GRC supercar driver for Olsberg MSE, Red Bull Honda team there, and Red Bull Global Rallycross. They're in action this weekend in New England. Up there, definitely, if you're in the New England area, up there, you don't want to miss this one, man. Make your way out to a Red Bull Global Rallycross event. You won't be disappointed. Bring the kids, bring the family. Something for everybody. It's always a good show in New England. New England, man, that's rally country up there. We got Vermont sports car based out of there. My friends at Subaru, so it's definitely rally territory up there. So going to be a good one this weekend, and if not, you can tune in on NBC where it will be airing as well. So we'll be back after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR.
Hey, I'm RJ Anderson, factory Polaris driver, and I drive Polaris because it's the most capable, race-ready off-road vehicle on the market.
When RJ Anderson wanted to set a world record for the longest UTV jump in history, not once but twice, what company did he trust? Polaris and their championship-winning RZR XP1000. RJ is a UTV champion behind the wheel of Polaris vehicles, and he exclusively trusts the Polaris RZRs to bring him race wins and championships against some of the toughest off-road racers in the world. The same Polaris RZRs RJ has won championships in, set world records in, and conquered the Wall of Death in XP1K2 are available to you at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of world record holder R.J. Anderson and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris RZR vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. Do you race, or are you a weekend warrior? Have you checked on the date on your helmet recently? Don't get caught off guard by using an outdated helmet. Impact Racing, the leader in motorsport safety, has new SA 2015 helmets to fit your budget. Whether you're looking for a helmet with a full carbon fiber shell to take you to victory at the Indy 500, or just looking for some helmets for a weekend at Glamis, Impact Racing has a helmet for you. Find out more information at ImpactRaceProducts.com or on Facebook at Impact Safety. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Book your midweek getaway today. Riverfront rooms starting at just $84.95 at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Our gaming floor is packed with the hottest slots, table games, poker, and bingo. Live entertainment, fine and casual dining, boat slips, movie theater, wakeboard island, and fun for all. Book your getaway stay at Blue Water Resort and Casino today. Sunday through Thursday room rates start at just $84.95 when booked online only at BlueWaterFun.com.
Blue Water Resort and Casino. Right on the water, right on the money.
Honey, it's the trunk load of cash at the Blue Water Resort and Casino, and they're giving away $76,000 in cash.
Oh yeah, the more we play, the more entries we can earn.
Woohoo! Plus, they're giving away over $3,000 in cash every Saturday.
Then on Saturday, June 24th, a guaranteed $43,000 in cash will be given away.
See the club for details.
Blue Water Resort and Casino. Right on the water, right on the money.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Jim Beaver just wrapping up an interview with my good friend Mitchell DeJong. Been so awesome to watch this kid become, just the amazing driver he is, man. I've been following his career since the Torque days, and known his family for a long, long time from desert racing circles, and to see this kid grow, and still he's such a young age. I mean, it's going to be amazing to see where his career goes 5-10 years out. Sky's the limit. Just a super talented driver that doesn't come along very often. Somebody that with this kind of knowledge and presents himself so well. So really excited to see where Mitchell DeJong's career goes, and definitely looking forward for that first career supercar victory when it does come. But also, we got Down and Dirty Radio Show happening over here with Action Motorsports, off-road rally, drifting, motocross, power sports. But then we've also got that little thing called Project Action over on Podcast One, my spinoff podcast. And thanks to everybody that's tuned in over there. You can tune in every Thursday or any day. It's on demand all the time. DownandDirtyShow.com, Podcast One's website, Podcast One app, or the easiest place is on iTunes. You got that iPhone, just go and rate, review, subscribe on iTunes, and you can get the latest from Project Action. Boom, beamed right to your phone. And when you subscribe, leave that Twitter, Instagram @username, and I'll follow you back on said social media when I see that review pop up. Recently, we've had an Indy 500 episode. We've had Paul Rodriguez, one of the best street skaters in the world over there. We've had Sebastian Bach from Skid Row. We've had Naomi Kyle, the face of IGN.com. Man, we've just been killing it with the interviews. I know I'm missing some, but we just keep rolling out the AAA the top caliber interviews over there on Project Action. I'm having a ton of fun with it. It's, it's a little bit of everything, but definitely check it out and check this out. We're going to go to a short break. We'll be back here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR, after this. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert dunes or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of Razor vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a Razor 170 like me, take the entire family out in a Razor XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new Razor XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full Polaris Razor lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor, and this is your DirtFish Rally Report for this week, brought to you by our good friends at DirtFish Rally School. Find out more information on the web at www.dirtfish.com. And don't forget, use the coupon code JBDirtFish for 15% off any class booked at DirtFish Rally School. Once again, that was JBDirtFish. That code is active. It is good. I know we had somebody a week ago. There's a weird thing where codes expire on websites, you know what I mean, and then they got to re-up them. There was literally like a one-day period where the code didn't work because it had expired and DirtFish needed to re-up it. We had somebody wanting to use it, and thanks, at least we know people are using the code, right? But wanted to use it and book it. They ended up having to call and book through the phone. DirtFish honored it, obviously, but if you've tried to use the code on the website and you were one of those small percentage of people that tried on the one day the code didn't work, it does work now. My apologies, but DirtFish, if you made the call, they did honor it, but it's JB DirtFish. And don't forget, once again, Subaru Launch Control launching this Wednesday, May 31st. That's tomorrow if you're tuning in online. That's today if you're tuning in national syndication. And if you're tuning in on demand, you know what? It's already passed. You can go and check it out on YouTube right now. So Subaru Launch Control, that's dropping. We also had a little series called World Rallycross. Yep, they were in action over the weekend, and this one was at Lydden Hill, one of the biggest, baddest rallycross tracks in the entire world. Iconic. This is the birthplace of rallycross, and Petter Solberg, the legend, taking the victory. Johan Kristoffersen second, and Andreas Bakkerud, my boy Bakkerud Blue, finishing in third. We had Sebastian Loeb fourth, Matthias Ekstrom in fifth, and Timmy Hansen in sixth. No offense to Matthias Ekstrom, but it's kind of good to see him down there in fifth place. He started off just dominating this year, still dominating, but just dropping off a bit. He's now in second place. We've got Johan Kristoffersen with 124 points in first, and Matthias Ekstrom in second with 120. And then in third, it's the legend, Petter Solberg, with 117 points. World RX, they are in action. I don't know, man. It seems like every other weekend. But that is your DirtFish Rally Report for this week, brought to you by our good friends at DirtFish Rally School. Find out more information on the web at www.dirtfish.com and use that code JBDirtFish for 15% off any class at DirtFish Rally School. When you book, tell them Jim Beaver sent you. They like to know. They like to keep track and make sure I'm just not blowing hot air here. But seriously, 15% off. Use that coupon code JBDirtFish. And we're going to take a short break. We come back. We got Joe Duncan with Terracross. He's on the line here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert dunes or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of RZR vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a RZR 170 like me, take the entire family out in a RZR XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new RZR XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris RZR. Check out the full Polaris RZR lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR.
Honey, it's the trunkload of cash at the Blue Water Resort and Casino, and they're giving away $76,000 in cash.
Oh, yeah. The more we play, the more entries we can earn.
Woohoo! Plus, they're giving away over $3,000 in cash every Saturday.
Then on Saturday, June 24th, a guaranteed $43,000 in cash will be given away.
See the club for details.
Blue Water Resort and Casino. Right on the water, right on the money.
Looking to have some fun on four wheels? DirtFish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at DirtFish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount. Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Jim Beaver joined on the line by my good friend Joe Duncan with the Terracross Championship, and this segment being brought to you by Optimus Starters, and Terracross starts with Optimus. How's everything going, Joe?
Things are great, Jim Beaver. How about yourself? Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, I was actually finally at home for a bit. Watched the Indy 500. What a crazy, crazy event that one was. And I don't know, was it the Indy 500 the weekend before for qualifying? I know you've been out there. You've been to Iceland. You've been bouncing around too, but yeah, man, that Indy 500, that was definitely one for the record books, let me tell you.
What a great weekend of racing. The Coca-Cola 600, Formula One, IndyCar. I mean, if you could throw a Terracross race on Memorial Weekend, you'd have the ultimate setup there.
Yeah, I'm feeling we need a Terracross race at the Snake Pit at Indy on Carb Day is what I think, and I think we'd have it to –
That's exactly where Terracross belongs, right in the Snake Pit. We have raced at the zoo at BIR at the NHRA races in Brainerd, Minnesota, and we had Clay Milliken and Ron Capps racing back in the zoo, and that's the comparable in the NHRA world, the Snake Pit and the zoo.
Yeah, and anybody that doesn't know what the Snake Pit is, the Snake Pit, you listen in, you hear about Crandon and and Jurassic Park, and and then it seems like every iconic venue's got that. You know what I mean? It's you've got the zoo up there at Brainerd, you've got the Snake Pit at Indy, and it's basically where people go and they party and they don't even know if the race is going on. They're just so drunk and having such a good time with concerts and naked slip and slide and everything else that there's always that one spot at races that have that, but I don't know, Terracross seems like a good fit for that. People would enjoy Terracross there, I think.
It would be a nice little fit. And then they would actually know there's racing going on.
Yeah, right? Oh, man.
Yeah, too funny. Great weekend. I just got back from Iceland. Levi LaValle and I went up there, had some, Terracross chats, and we got to go get that last snowmobile ride in of the year. I mean, some of the guys out west will still be riding for another month or so, the way it's looking out there. But we went up, and I have some great friends up there. I've run 5 or 6 events up there with snowcross and some freestyle, and just a nice way to round out the winter season and full swing into summer here as Memorial Weekend closes out and the summer begins here up in Minnesota.
Yeah, I texted Levi last week, and I had this true story. So I had Steve Arpin on the air, and Steve and I mean, you and Steve are close friends. Steve and I are really good friends. We text all the time and talk and stuff like that. So we had him on the air, and somehow he and Levi had his first ever Tri-5 invitational race this past spring, to kind of where basically it was a sled. It had to have been $500 or less, 500 cc's or less. And I can't remember what the other 500. And it was 500 laps around this track.
500 laps.
And so Arpin and I were talking about that, and Steve and I both go, "We're in this next year." So I text the Valley, and I said, "I don't know if you want us or not, but Steve Arpin and I are both in on your Tri-5 race." And Levi's like, "Oh, that's going to be so awesome!" And I'm like, "Seriously?" Like I think Levi thought I was joking, but Arpin and I, we're serious. We're coming up there.
I think I'm there next year. I actually was trying to get a sled for this year, but the 2 sleds that I had access to would not fit in his 500 category range. So, I think that thing looks like a blast, and I think Levi's doing a little pre-planning already for next year with some more of his snowmaking and some more prep of the racetrack, because the weather kind of hit it a little hard this year. But I think he has some ideas how to make it better, and I kind of helped him with a couple of snow saving ideas. So, that looked like a blast. What a fun way to wrap up the snowcross and freestyle season, to have a good old beater race.
Yeah, well, and just so you know, Steve Arpin and I, we're not only racing, but him and I both decided that we're coming and we're staying at your house. So we're just adding on to this, Joe Duncan.
my cabin, which I was there this weekend with my dad, helping him fix up a little bit, is 15 miles from Levi's place. So it works out perfect. You guys always have a place to stay up there.
No, it was just a comedic conversation, because Arpin was saying he doesn't get on a snowmobile much at all anymore, and he's really kind of bummed about it. Yeah. So this whole deal popped up. We're like, we got to do this.
What is he? A seven-time world champion, I think.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know a full ton. I know he's very accomplished, but I don't know Arpin's his full credentials. But
I think he's a 7-time ice oval world champion. And again, that's kind of where I met him in the beginning, and been a long friendship since then.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. He's kind of like Levi. He's just a genuinely good, human being, and kind of people that I like to gravitate towards. And so somehow Steve and I, we've become friends, and just a good guy. But what's new for Terracross? We only got a couple of minutes left here, Joe. But I know you guys have been rocking and rolling and trying to get things dialed in. I know Heyday's in the books. I know you're mixing in X Games between now and when Terracross season starts. So you're really busy.
Yeah, we've got X Games, we got Nitro World Games coming up here in June, and then we got X Games in July, and then Terracross kicks off in September at Heyday's, and then actually I'll be down in North Carolina next week. We're working on our event site for North Carolina, and that's coming together, and then to be honest with you, we have some stuff. I think we hinted to it before, but 2018 and 2019, some big news coming for the next 2 seasons of Terracross. It's really cool. Some of the stuff it's been in the works for over a year, and some things are ready to be signed, sealed, and delivered coming up in July and August. So pretty excited. It's been a lot of off the records meetings and talks, and now it's all coming to fruition, and be excited to make those announcements coming up here.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing those announcements. I'm looking forward to getting back in Razor and doing some Terracross racing. I don't know. It just seems like it's been a while now, and it's like, man, I need to get back in one. And always a ton of fun. Can't wait for heydays. But it seems like
we got Razors already at K2 Motorsports and in the shop, and we've got as you know from our call with MPI there with Max Pappas. We've got MPI steering wheels already going on. We got some E3 spark plugs going in, and some Odyssey batteries getting plugged in there. So got some really great stuff coming together already, and we're still a few months away. So it's nice to be a little ahead of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know it's definitely looking forward to it. It seems like you guys are on point. I know Jeff K2 called me a week or so ago, and he's like, Joe is on fire this year. He's like, we already got Cole's ride ready and this, and and he was telling me, they're just rolling in there to the shop. So it's always good to hear.
Yeah, it's been great. Jeff's got all the snowcross stuff packed up, and onward to the Terracross and the Polaris Razors, and putting it all together and getting ready for the season. So it's great to have that little jump start. So special thanks to Polaris and getting us machines nice and early, and accessories coming in, and it's really good.
Yeah. All right, Joe. Well, I appreciate the time, my friend. We gotta run, but thanks a lot, and we'll chat again next week.
Sounds great. Thanks, Jimmy.
All right, thanks, Joe. That was Joe Duncan with the Terracross Championship, and that was Terracross, brought to you by Optimus Starters. And we're going to take a short break. We come back. Alex Stryer on the line talking about his book, Motorsports Marketing and Sponsorships, and all that and more. Still coming at you. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it. So when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of Razor vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a Razor 170 like me, take the entire family out in a Razor XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new Razor XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full Polaris Razor lineup at Polaris.com, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? DirtFish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at DirtFish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Honey, it's the trunkload of cash at the Blue Water Resort and Casino, and they're giving away $76,000 in cash.
Oh, yeah. The more we play, the more entries we can earn.
Woohoo! Plus, they're giving away over $3,000 in cash every Saturday.
Then on Saturday, June 24th, a guaranteed $43,000 in cash will be given away.
See the club for details.
Blue Water Resort and Casino. Right on the water, right on the money.
Do you race or are you a weekend warrior? Have you checked on the date on your helmet recently? Don't get caught off guard by using an outdated helmet. Impact Racing, the leader in motorsport safety, has new SA 2015 helmets to fit your budget. Whether you're looking for a helmet with a full carbon fiber shell to take you to victory at the Indy 500 or just looking for some helmets for a weekend at Glamis, Impact Racing has a helmet for you. Find out more information at impactraceproducts.com or on Facebook at Impact Safety. Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Jim Beaver here with Alex Stryer, the guy that literally wrote the book on motorsports and marketing and sponsorships. I guess wrote 2 books now, but how's everything going, Alex?
Things are good here, Jim. How are you?
Doing well, man. It's kind of mid-season, and I know, a lot of series are finally starting to take off, kind of hitting the mid-season stretch. I know you guys, you're involved with outdoor motocross. That's starting to kick off now, but that's, I'm already starting to look at 2018, and I don't know about you, but I'm already starting to work deals for 2018, and I don't think a lot of people really understand how marketing really works and when the actual sell period is for sponsorships, right?
Well, you hit the nail on the head on that one, Jim, because I started working on 2018 about 3 years ago. As you know, I'm part of a group at Lucas Oil. It's called Team Lucas. We sell the sponsorships for about 415 different events that Lucas Oil puts on every year, and we raise a lot of money for our different properties. We also help some teams out to race in some of the series. And there's a deal that we just closed literally over the past 30 days that we've been working over 5 years on. And sometimes it takes a little while, a little seed time. You plant the seeds grow, gets into something, you have to form those relationships. But that doesn't mean that all sponsorship attempts that are happening today are going to take 5 years. It just means that there are some longer-term deals you have to plan for, and then some short-term deals. And understanding what the brands want will really help you get those short-term deals. There's still money to be had, even for 2017.
Well, and I think a lot of people too, and like you said, there's some that really, they've got something and they need to market it, and it's like right now, and so there's some of that goes on. But I think you're talking long term. I know some of mine, and I've in talking with people, some of my deals. I mean, sometimes they take 2-3 years to cultivate that relationship and finally get something inked. And all the while you're working, and you might be working with a conflicting partner, the new partner, and things like that. But I think a lot of people, they want that instant gratification. They think, hey, I'm going to make this call, I'm going to meet somebody, I'm going to send an email, and immediately I'm going to get a deal. And it's so far,
Exactly.
It's so far beyond what the reality of the situation is.
Yeah, it doesn't happen that way. You may get lucky occasionally because you meet a small company, a business owner, and he's excited and passionate about getting involved in racing, and they might be able to do something on the spot. But that's usually smaller money. Those are also endemic companies. Those are parts. If you need tires, wheels, suspension, it's easier to get those kind of deals. But most racers, they can get parts, but they're looking for is money. Money helps us all grow. It helps us go to more events. So to get the bigger money, you have to go after the bigger companies, and they typically have a process, a budgeting process that you have to understand and cater to when you're approaching them, and plan on working with a company 6 months to a couple of years before anything really gets done.
Yeah. Well, and one thing that I found really interesting, I was out at the Indy 500 qualifying last weekend, and one of the cool things I saw was, a lot of these cars had blank side pods, and all of a sudden a driver would put in a good qualifying run, and immediately the next day they've got a sponsor and something slapped on the side pod. But Indy has so much exposure, that there are those companies that have a little bit of money left over, and it's like, oh, this guy might do good. We might be able to piggyback on some big exposure. Let's slap a logo on this car real quick, and so their last minute embroidery on suits and things like that. And I found that really interesting because there's only 1 or 2 events a year that you can actually really see things like that happen,
Yes, and those are also the bigger events, the more, spectacles, as I'll call them, really fun. People go for the event itself, not necessarily to watch the racing. I think that 99% of all racers in the United States today, or even around the world, they're part of grassroots racing, and grassroots racers have a harder time selling exposure because the brands typically get more exposure through their natural marketing means than any individual race team in grassroots can give them. So when you're approaching a company, a large non-endemic, let's say, because you're looking for a bigger piece of their marketing budget, you don't really want to sell them exposure. You want to sell them everything other than exposure. You want to sell them what they're not yet doing with their current marketing. I see this all the time. I see racers all the time. In fact, we get several proposals a day here at Lucas Oil, and although I don't allocate sponsorships, I get a lot of emails, and I'll forward them to the right group.
Yeah.
But almost every single email and proposal we get says, if you give me money, I'll give you exposure. Brands aren't buying exposure, and so that automatically is destined for failure. Brands want you to become an extension of their marketing arm, and they want you to reach a market or a geographical area or a customer or an event or something that they're not already yet doing. Brands want you to become their employee at the track.
Well, and I know I recently, and it was really interesting. I did an interview with Paul Rodriguez, professional skateboarder. He's kind of the face of Nike for skateboarding and stuff like that, and had him on my podcast last week. And he was talking about social media and his following, and he says, it used to be 10 years ago, he's like, it was all about getting your photo in the magazine. And he's like, now he's like, that exposure I don't need. He's like, I have 2 million Instagram followers. He's like, I want exposure. I just throw up a picture on Instagram and boom, I've got a magazine ad,
Right.
And so that was something that would really kind of shock me because I never really took a step back and looked at it that way.
Well, social media has changed the landscape a little bit. The tools of marketing have changed, but the principles of marketing really haven't changed. You have to know who the target demographic is that the brand's trying to reach. You have to give them a message that they'll understand and appreciate, and then show them a way to buy the product. And although social media is good for logo exposure and, real quick hits here and there, what you really want is you want to find that trigger through social media that causes a consumer to either share that social media content, whether it's a video or a post or whatever, or you want the trigger that's going to get them to go and purchase the product. Click on the link, go to the website. The triggers are more important than the posts. It's more effective to have a good social media platform with a few followers and good triggers that allow those followers to share your content than to have 10 million followers that don't do anything.
How have you seen in the past, obviously Motorsports Marketing and Sponsorship, that's the second book you've written. The first one was X-Play Nation, and I know X-Play, I've read both, and I'm actually partway through your second book now. I can't say I've read it cover to cover, but I've got a good idea of where it's going. But, what have you seen in the past, 5 to 10 years since you wrote X-Play? How have you seen things shift in this industry? Because I know X-Play was a little bit motorsports, it was a little bit action sports. How have you seen the big shift?
Right.
What's different in marketing and sponsorships now that than when you wrote the first book?
When I wrote the explanation of action sports, and it was sort of a play on words because it was a nation that plays in X Games, Extreme, Xbox. X-Play Nation was an explanation of the action sports industry at that time, and it's about a decade old now. But action sports, as you know, are progressive. They're about falling down and getting back up. They're about trying a trick over and over and over and over until you finally get it right. And they're quite different from team sports where you have a coach that tells you what to do and you have to wear a uniform and you have a position and sometimes you play and sometimes you sit on the bench. Action sports, you can just go out in your backyard and do it any time. There are a lot of grassroots motorsports, motocross in particular, where you can just jump on your bike if you live in the country and go riding in the backyard and the farm, where you have that capability of yourself getting better and better by putting in more time. It's a little harder with the bigger sports. You can't just jump in your Indy car and go race around all day or your NASCAR. But, if you have a circle track near your house, you might be able to rent it and jump in a modified car or a late model or a sprint car. So there is a move towards progression, getting better and better at something that I think a lot of brands will want to attach to, because action sports are more about the progression and the passion of the sport. And in a lot of action sports, especially skateboarding, the true core skateboarders, they prefer not even to wear logos. They don't like to wear logos because they don't want to be ads. It's the X Games athletes who are the ones wearing the logos because they're getting paid. In grassroots motorsports, you have the same thing. A lot of these guys are out there wrenching on their own vehicles, and they're doing it because they love it, not because they're getting paid. Now, getting paid is a great part of it. Everybody wants to make money and bring in sponsorship funds because, it helps you grow. But they don't do it for the money to start. They do it because they love it.
Yeah, Well, and speaking of the logos, I know that there goes to a level too. I remember Kelly Slater. It was a big deal when he had his Quicksilver sponsorship because Quicksilver basically bought all of Kelly Slater, and his surfboard had one little logo, and it was a Quicksilver logo, and the rest of it was blank. And
if you saw the ads, if you saw the ads that Quicksilver ran and still does.
Yeah.
It's not an ad of a giant logo or a giant product. Here's our board shorts. Here's our shirts. It's an ad or a photo of a surfer surfing a big wave and little tiny Quicksilver logo in the bottom corner. The promotion is about the lifestyle, not necessarily the product itself, and they attach the brands to the lifestyle.
Yeah, well, and Red Bull's been really good at that too. I mean, they're one of those companies. I know you mentioned it in the book, but you can't buy a hat, you can't buy the logo. I mean, it's just it's not there, and it's been about the experience, and even in their marketing and things like that, most of it, they do have some different stuff, but they're very much that way as well. It's obviously it's done well for them at this point.
Yeah, it has, and it just shows that every brand and every company has a different thing that they value. With Red Bull, it's image, and it's prestige, and it's being first class. With service agencies, let's say American Express, or service providers like Geico, American Express wants you to sign up for credit cards. Geico wants you to remember them when you go to buy insurance. Automotive retailers, they want foot traffic into the store. Napa, AutoZone, Pep Boys, O'Reilly's. They want people to go into the actual store. So their message is going to be different. Auto retailers not promoting AutoZone, we're the coolest. What they're promoting is store hours, store locations, perhaps discounts. So if you're approaching, let's say, Geico for a sponsorship, they do seek impressions. Show Geico how you're going to get them the most impressions. Whereas if you're approaching Napa Auto Parts for sponsorship, they don't care about the exposure. Exposure doesn't do them any good. What they want is they want to drive foot traffic into the stores. Tire companies, BFG, and as you're a desert racer, so you see them all over the place. They want the winners, champions, racing on their tires. They want to be associated with first, second, and third slot on the podium. Oil companies, same thing. We want to show our products in use by winners and by champions, because if it's good enough for someone who wins races all the time, then, it's good enough for the average Joe Blow.
And we'll have more with Alex Stryer after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor.
I'm Polaris rider Levi LaValle, and I choose Polaris just because they have the best quality, highest performing, most fun machines out there.
Only one company has taken Levi LaValle to 10 X Games medals, snowcross championships, a double backflip, and a world record long jump of 412 feet across the San Diego Harbor on New Year's Eve, and that company is Polaris. Whether it's dominating the X Games, racing a stock Polaris Razor XP1000 in the Terracross Championship, or just hitting the trail on the weekend, for over 20 years Levi has relied on the same quality Polaris vehicles and products you can purchase at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of action sports legend Levi LaValle and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Since 1970, KC Highlights has been designing and manufacturing performance lighting for off-road and motorsports, beginning with the legendary Daylighter up until today's revolutionary Flex, Pod, and Pro 6 lighting systems. KC Highlights offers a full line of halogen, HID, and LED lighting solutions for your off-road vehicle. Looking for the best quality lighting? Looking for the brand champions choose? You're looking for KC Highlights. Find out more information at kchighlights.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KC Highlights.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Jim Beaver here with Alex Stryer, author of Motorsports Marketing and Sponsorships, and also Sales and Marketing Director for Team Lucas. So, Alex, one of the big parts in the book, you were talking about tangible versus intangible. And intangible is everything that can be measured. Obviously logos on the hood and this and that. And for the most part, it's something anybody can offer that races, right? But the intangible, I mean, that's, and you can say like, oh, let's look at Ken Block, right? Ken's a good friend of mine. I know, you mentioned him in the book, and Ken, there's, he's racing World Rallycross, and there's 20 cars on the grid, right? But there's only one Ken Block, and they can all offer the same thing Ken can on the car, but away from the track, there's only one Ken Block in this world, and I think that's a big part, and people really need to figure out where their strengths are, as far as the intangible assets go, because that's really where the value, I think, in a sponsorship lies.
That's the multiplier. Your tangible assets, you can quantify those. The TV time, interviews, onboard cameras, articles in magazines, they have a value based upon whatever the readership of the magazine is and whatever the rate card might be for that magazine. Logos on your suit, your helmet, your race car, posters, hero cards, all those, many tangible assets that you can actually quantify, because you're going to print up a certain number of posters, and those might get hung up on walls in garages and then, in bedrooms, and if they do, then they'll get some eyeballs. You can sort of estimate a value. But those intangible assets, those can be priceless. The fan affinity and integrity, reputation. Lucas Oil, actually, we go more off the intangible asset. We look for racers who have a good reputation and who align with our brand more so than we look for racers who are always on top of the podium. We would rather our message be told through a respectable, likable person who's honest than the hotshot who's on the podium that might have cheated to get there. Yeah. So if someone's telling, hey, I'm sponsored by Lucas Oil and my car, truck, motorcycle won because I'm using Lucas, we want their fans to believe him. And, every brand has sort of a different perspective on that. Some brands are looking for those impressions. And so they want the most tangible assets they can get, as many hits and impressions, like I said, Geico earlier. Other brands are looking more for those intangibles. And those intangibles, because you can't really put a dollar value on it, you can base your program off some pretty interesting money.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and I think you talked about too what brands are looking for, and I think another thing that you mentioned in the book too that I really. I never really looked at it, but like you said, you've got two ears and you've got one mouth, and a lot of people go into a meeting or a pitch, and it's it's immediately right out of the box. They're just their mouth is open and they're going a million miles an hour and telling them how great they are, and you're not going to get this anywhere else, and they might be throwing stuff against the wall and none of it's going to stick, because that's so not what the company's looking for. And I think one of the big keys I took from the book too is definitely listen more than you do talk, because you'll find out a lot more about the company and what they're actually looking for, and where your value can actually fit into into their brand.
Well, it's real important to get that second meeting and that second phone call, and then the third meeting and the third phone call, because you will not close a deal on the first phone call or the first meeting. It takes many, 5, 6, 7, sometimes several years even, as we talked earlier. So the real goal of that first meeting is to make sure that you form a good enough impression so that whoever you're speaking to will take a second meeting and then a third. You want to not necessarily become friends with the sponsorship director, but you want them to like you and respect you enough where they'll pick up the phone and read your email and respond. Every racer out there has met some potential new sponsor, inundated them with the first email with a whole bunch of info. I get them all the time. That's why I know that. And then never hear from that person again, ever. That's, by pushing and selling too much in that first meeting, it almost guarantees you'll never get that second meeting.
Yeah. Well, and that being said, I actually in my notes here for the interview, I was going to ask you about cold calls because there comes a time and a place where you have to make a cold call. I mean, I hate doing the cold call because I know, you're at a disadvantage from the start, right? But once in a while, something presents itself where you have to make that cold call. I mean, what's the proper way to go about making that cold call or doing that cold email? And I'm a call person. I'd much rather talk to somebody on the phone than I would send an email. But, I mean, what's the proper way to do that?
Well, I get a lot, and although I don't issue the sponsorships here, I do occasionally take a call because someone is interesting, and I'll forward it along to our motorsports director here. But the ones that have always gotten my attention are the ones that don't sell right away and don't catch me off guard. If I'm in the middle of something and the phone rings and I pick it up and it's a cold call, and they do happen all the time, not just for sponsorships, but for labels and packaging and email services and databases, and I get them all the time. It's quite annoying. But if someone sends me a message on LinkedIn that says, here's my situation, can I have a few minutes of your time? I understand your company, and I understand that you may not be in the far west, far east, far north, far south. We have a race here that Lucas Oil doesn't reach, and there's 5 distributors in the area, and you're in none of those 5. I could possibly help you get into those distributors. Can you take a call? Then I'm more likely to do so. It's real important on your cold call to understand the business that the sponsor is in so you can speak the language that the sponsor's trying to do with their marketing. And what I mean by that is the purpose of marketing is to increase sales. I don't know if you remember Peter Drucker. He was the old management guru. He's no longer with us, but he used to always say, you have to know 3 things about a brand or your customer, let's say. 1 is what business are they in. 2 is who is their customer. And 3 is what does their customer consider value. So someone who wants to pitch to, let's say, Lucas Oil, they have to understand that we're here to sell more oil. So if you want us to sponsor you in a Lucas Oil Off-Road Racing Series event, which we, by the way, entitle, and you're going to race in Arizona, where we are already in, I think, every single automotive parts store down there, then it's very unlikely that there's going to be any added value. But let's say you are racing in Ensenada, Mexico, and there's several new auto zones and Napas down in Mexico in that Ensenada area where we don't yet carry product. Then and you're offering to do in-store appearances and sign autographs and potentially introduce us to the store managers. Well, then that's a phone call I'm going to take because it's not you trying to sell me something, but it's you understanding my business well enough to know that you can help me sell something, which is more oil. So you have to think of it from the perspective of the company you're calling. Your goal is not to sell to them. Your goal on that phone call is to show them how you're going to help them sell more product. That's how you get those cold calls taken.
Well, and before we, and you and I could sit here and talk all day, but I know at some point we want people to grab this book, right? But what is the biggest mistake? Before we let you go, what's the biggest mistake you see, young guys or even veterans, that they make when they're going and pitching themselves to sponsors?
Well, they make it about themselves.
Yeah.
They always focus on the race team or the race car. I'll put your logo on my car, on my helmet. I'll put your logo on my suit, my posters, my website. I'll give you exposure. Instead, you got to flip that around, and you have to go to the sponsor and say, here's how I'll help you sell more product. Here's how I'll help your company get more recognition. Here's how I'll help you elevate your branding. Here's how I'm going to help you increase customer loyalty. So make the sponsorship about the brand and the sponsor, not about the racer and the racing. And another thing that goes right along with that is once you get it to the point where you're discussing value, never base a sponsorship proposal off of what it costs you to race. Base your sponsorship cost off of the value to the sponsor and the value to the brand. If you're going to get them in certain media that they're not already in, then you can value that using your tangible calculations of okay, the value of being in this program and being in this magazine and newspaper and on TV, it's going to be $25,000. Base the sponsorship off what you're giving them, not what it costs you to race.
Yeah. Well, and I know, that's a good point, because I've always looked at things too, me when I'm talking with a sponsor or something like that, and the money thing comes up, and I have to look at it and go, all right, if I was in that company's shoes, would I do this deal? Am I asking too much? What's the right value here? And if the answer is like, no, I wouldn't do that deal, then there's no point in me pitching it, because the chances are they're going to say no as well. And sometimes, there's sometimes dealing with certain brands and things like that, you can't go for that big number because it's just a smaller number, and so you have to proceed accordingly. And I think a lot of people, it's like, oh, we're going to get that one sponsor that gives us $250,000 a year, and we're going to be great, and we're just going to fund everything with one logo on the car. And it's so far, from the truth. Sometimes it takes a lot of smaller deals, and everybody's got a different, a different need, and sometimes it's just, the combination of all of them that actually make things work.
Yeah, and then what you can do, Jim, is a racer can always ask for a higher amount of money than the value that they can naturally give, and then you can take a percentage of that and buy media with it. What a lot of amateur and new racers don't understand is that the more senior racers in our series, they're buying onboard cameras, they're buying behind-the-scenes vignettes, they're taking their sponsor money and they're buying themselves media and exposure, and they're buying magazine ads, they're buying publicity in magazines. And show the sponsor how you're going to take a percentage of the sponsorship budget and spend it for them, which they're going to do anyway in a media buy, but you're going to spend it in a relevant media buy in the medium in which you're racing. Because the magazines, the radio shows, the online sites better because you're the endemic racer in a certain series. The sponsor may not know that. So show them how you're going to spend their money doing what they were going to do anyway on a global national scale, but you're going to target it and focus it to the racers who follow your series. Yeah. You don't have to take all that money and put it in your pocket or buy new parts. You can take a lot of that, and the better racers do, the ones that with the higher sponsorship funding, and they just reinvest into the marketing for their sponsor.
Well, it's funny you bring that up, because I just had this conversation a few weeks ago with a potential sponsor for 2018, and they go, look, you're doing fine. What are you going to do? They asked me, they go, what are you going to do with this money? And I said, do you really want to know? I said, I've got these 3 videos that I'd like to do, and these 3 videos pretty much cost this amount of money. So I'm going to take your money, I'm going to do these videos with that money. And they looked at me, they go, all right, we'll sign on for that, because, it wasn't me, going out and buying a new dirt bike or writing myself a paycheck. I had a purpose for that money, and it was being reinvested back into the program, and
right.
it was enough where they go, all right, that we like the way that sounds, because they're guaranteed that, at least that media value right there. So, and I think a lot of people lose sight of that. You know what I mean? You can reinvest in your program through bought media and things like that. And like you said, I think, a lot of people, it's just something they don't think about, except for the bigger teams that are doing that.
Well, you had mentioned Ken Block earlier. He's the master of it.
Yeah.
Ken Block with the Gymkhana videos. Ken Block with all of the videos and the promotions that he does. Is he takes a pretty good chunk of his sponsorship money, and he reinvests it right back into sponsors. It's brilliant. I think, that's why he is who he is. It's not just because he's winning races all the time. I don't know how many races he's won lately, but I'll tell you what, he's one of the most visible racers out there.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I appreciate your time, Alex. Where can people grab Motorsports marketing and sponsorship? I know it's available on Amazon, and give us the details.
And the book's on Amazon.com.
All right.
That's Amazon has a policy where it's if you publish on Amazon, or not Amazon, Barnes & Noble had a policy where if you publish on Amazon, then Barnes & Noble won't carry it. So I wrote the book because I print up copies. I give them to racers all the time. I give them to friends and people in the industry. I'm not necessarily a professional author. I'm the director of sales and marketing for our Team Lucas program here at Lucas Oil. I'm a full-time exec at Lucas Oil, so I wanted hands off. I took the book, put it on Amazon, and that's all the work I had to do.
Yeah, well,
I'm not out there actively selling it in bookstores.
Yeah, well, prime shipping, you can have it overnight, right? There's nothing better than
exactly.
that. All right. Well, I appreciate the time, Alex. Much appreciated, man. And good luck with the rest of this year. And we'll chat soon.
Sounds good. Well, take care, Jim.
All right.
We'll see you.
And that was Alex Stryer, author of the book Motorsports Marketing and Sponsorship, available on Amazon.com, also available audiobook download on Kindle. And we'll be back after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR.
Hey, I'm RJ Anderson, factory Polaris driver, and I drive Polaris because it's the most capable, race-ready off-road vehicle on the market.
When R.J. Anderson wanted to set a world record for the longest UTV jump in history, not once but twice, what company did he trust? Polaris and their championship-winning RZR XP1000. R.J. is a UTV champion behind the wheel of Polaris vehicles, and he exclusively trusts the Polaris RZRs to bring him race wins and championships against some of the toughest off-road racers in the world. The same Polaris RZRs RJ has won championships in, set world records in, and conquered the Wall of Death in XP1K2 are available to you at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of world record holder RJ Anderson and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris RZR vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. A 268-horsepower, turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305-horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. It's not a sibling rivalry. It's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Looking to have some fun on four wheels? DirtFish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at DirtFish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound of the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Just got done with a two-part segment with Alex Stryer, author of Motorsports Marketing and Sponsorship. And let me tell you, if you're a racer or if you're an action sports athlete, this is a must-have, a must-own. If you're looking for sponsors, if you're looking to endorse brands, I'm telling you, go to Amazon right now, buy this book, because it is that good. This thing is seriously the Bible as far as motorsports marketing and sponsorships go. You need to get it. It's only $19.99. It is worth every penny. I'm telling you, get it. Don't wait. Buy it now, and thank Mr. Striler later. Let me tell you, it is that good. You guys, it's definitely a must-read. I don't care if you're a veteran. I don't care if you're making millions a year. You need to buy it, and you will take something from it. I'm promising you that. It's that good. So thanks to Alex Stryer for coming on. Thanks to Mitchell DeJong, Joe Duncan, my partner in crime, Amy Hood. You can follow her. It's at Amy Hood 71 on social media. I am at JimBeaver15. And don't forget, listen to Project Action, dropping every Thursday on Podcast One. Make sure and rate, review, subscribe on iTunes. And if you're looking for a discount at DirtFish Rally School, use that coupon code JBDirtFish, 15% off. Polaris Razor Star Car, the video dropping today, later this afternoon. Go to my Facebook page at JimBeaver15 and make sure, click it, watch it, share it, comment, do whatever you got to do, but please, let's get the word out. I'm going for 150,000 views on this one, and I need your help to do it. And a big shout-out to Polaris Razor, General Tire, Subaru, KC Highlights, Gibson Exhaust, DirtFish, Impact, OTSFF, Optimus Starters, Terracross, and the Blue Water Resort and Casino. Man, big packed weekend this weekend with Formula Drift, Baja, Global Rallycross, Pro Motocross, STPR Rally. If you're going to any of these events, be safe, don't drink and drive, and as always, game on.